There is very little doubt that we got everything we just hoped for when we picked up Blake Akers from the Fremantle Dockers. In fact, I don't think in our wildest dreams did we think we would get the year that we got from Akers. 25 games he played last year, and he never, apart from maybe a small patch when the team was going really badly, did he drop below average. He was super consistent, big ball winner on his wing, runs all day, is very, very strong in the contest. And the thing that struck me about Akers, and I think which struck all of us, is his ability to make something out of nothing, his ability to change the game, to pop up at really important times. He doesn't, I think the big knock on Blake Akers, and it's always been, has been his ball use. He's not a terrible ball user, but it's not the greatest part of his game, but he makes up for it with so many excellent qualities. He was absolutely outstanding, and I have him at number 12 on my ranking list. I mentioned previously, it may have even been for Zach Williams or one of our high-profile recruits that we brought to the football club, that the pennies dropped, your Jack Martins, etc., and there's no doubt, you look at the body shape of Mitch McGavin now compared to what it was when he first arrived at Princes Park from Adelaide. Something's happened with him, not just the move from the forward line to the back line, which has been a revelation. It really has. He is that player that every football team needs, the intercept defender, the bloke that can mark the ball, the bloke that can play on a small or a tall, the bloke that uses it exceptionally well by foot, and he's just smart, a very smart player. He is a centimetre away from really being there. We got 22 games out of him last season. He was excellent in the 3 finals that he played. He's really grown. I think it just looks like his leadership's grown as well. And he's just a fine Australian rules footballer. The pedigree, you look at his brother, Jeremy, and just look at the way he plays the game as well. They're just smart. They're just smart players. And it took forever, and he was probably lucky in the end that he had such a long contract, because he probably would have been out the door. But now he's potentially, as of next year, I would think, if he continues on this trend, easily in our top 10 players, Mitch McGavin. I'm not quite ready not to have this bloke in my top 10, and that's Sam Doherty. I checked his age. He's still only 30, and he's not 31 until the season finishes on the 17th of October. It just feels like, because he's just been through so much, that body of his, the knee injuries, the cancer, and now the shoulders, it just feels like it's just battered up. It's battered up. And I know he's veteran stage now, Doc. 7th in the best and fairest. Played 23 games and had a super consistent season. I don't know how I feel about the sort of messaging at the moment. He's well and truly in our best team, but just the messaging that there's almost not a place for him in our back half anymore, and he'll have to find other places to play, whether it is across half forward or at times on a wing, where I think we've got a lot of wingers now. It's almost like a bits and pieces for Sam Doherty, but his leadership and his inspiration, and, he's still a bloody good footballer. He's still invaluable for us. But I get the feeling that we've probably seen the best of Doc. And I'm just hoping that what he was able to produce last year and the year before, he's still able to produce for us this year as well. Something in me telling me that, it could be. It could be on the way out which I hope is not the case. Sam Doherty at number 10. We're nearly there, guys, nearly there. We are counting down and we're now inside the top 10. If this bloke was cooler, if this bloke had a bigger name, he should have been All-Australian last season. He really should have been. 561 disposals as a defender. He just went to another level. And who would have thought 12 months ago, and he's always been a good player. He's always shown some flair, occasional brain fade earlier on in his career. But to see him now just become a permanent part of our back six and probably behind Jacob Wiedering, second picked. He's going to be super important early in the year when Wiedering's down. He becomes our real general down back, Nick Newman. And at 30 years of age, our oldest player, think about that for a second. Our oldest player is 30 years of age. That just shows you that our list is in pretty bloody good nick moving forward. Love everything about him, love everything he brings, the reliability, the calmness. I just think that one of the big reasons why we were able to get our season going last year was the significant improvement and growth from a bloke who's done it the hard way. And to think that we picked him up from the Sydney Swans, took a punt on him. What did we pick him up for? A fucking pack of burger rings and a can of Portolo? Yeah, Nick Newman, take your hat off to him. Absolute superstar. He is our great white hope. And I speak of that symbolically and also literally as well, just looking at the big man, Tom De Koning, who slots in at number 8. Maybe a fraction premature still, but 60 games into his career, the last 2 seasons have yielded 19 games in 2022 and then again last year, where he just went to another level. The next step for him, obviously, is that ability to go forward and be a genuine threat like he did in that semi-final against Melbourne, where he caused some significant headaches early in the game and he got us back into that game. And that's what he is capable of doing. So, it's going to be one of the most fascinating watches this year to see how Michael Voss uses both Mark Pitnet and Tom De Koning. Ideally, you're talking a 60%, 70% ratio in the ruck and maybe 30 forward. That's the type of footballer he is. He's such a damaging player around the ground, but it's his forward craft that makes him and separates him from other ruckmen in the competition. So he's kicked 9 goals last year. So if we can get 20 plus from Tom De Koning, plus being almost an elite ruckman, we're talking a very, very damaging player in the AFL. I don't want to criticise this bloke, because what I will say is his last half a dozen games, probably after the Fremantle game in round 17, he probably tapered off somewhat, which included the 3 finals. He wasn't bad by any stretch. He was still very serviceable, but the first part of the year, through the middle part of the year when we were really battling, and then when we started to get going, it was Adam Cerra, who I've got at number 7 on my ranking list. He was the one. He was the one whose game really grew. He was the one who was keeping us in games. He was our hope. He was our barometer through the midfield. And given the fact now that there's extra support, and if we can stay healthy through the middle of the ground, and he's now a mature body and it appears that he's got over those sort of hamstring issues, I fully expect us to see the best of Adam Cerra over the next couple of years. So it's very exciting because he is a class. He's got a very good mix through the midfield in regards to his game, both the inside and outside game. And I would love, because I think he's capable of doing it, kicked 9 goals last season, but he can also take that goal kicking to another level. Adam Chera, excellent footballer.